Welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited you're here because today we're diving deep into a topic that I know so many of you have been asking about: men can't resist women who detach. Relationship advice. This is going to completely shift the way you approach love, dating, and how you see your own value in relationships. So if you're ready to stop chasing, start attracting, and live your love life with real confidence, you're absolutely in the right place. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments what topic you'd love me to make a video about next. I'm always reading your suggestions and creating content you actually want to hear. When you really take a step back and think about it, the people we are most drawn to are the ones who seem to know exactly who they are, regardless of whether we show up or not. They're not waiting for our validation. They're not hanging on every word we say. They're not anxiously watching to see if we approve of them. They're just living. They're thriving. And we can't help but want to be a part of it. Now, when we talk about detachment, a lot of people get the wrong idea. They think it means being cold or indifferent. That's not what I'm saying at all. True detachment is not about being icy or pretending you don't care when you actually do. It's about genuinely valuing yourself so much that your happiness isn't hinging on whether this one person texts you back or not, whether they want you or not, whether they choose you or not. Imagine you're holding a beautiful, delicate bird in your hand. If you squeeze it tightly, trying to keep it close, what happens? You hurt it, you suffocate it. But if you open your hand and allow it to stay by choice, it may just choose to perch there even longer. Detachment is about trusting that if someone wants to be there, they will be. And if they don't, that's a blessing, because you don't want anyone in your life who has to be forced to stay. This idea that the highest value is communicated through detachment is so powerful because it flips the script. Most people are operating from a place of, how do I make him like me? What can I do to keep him interested? How can I make sure he doesn't leave? And when you come from that place, what you're actually doing is lowering your value in real time. You're signaling that his presence in your life is the prize, not your presence in his. When you detach, you send a completely different message. You're showing through your energy that your life is already full, your time is already rich, your heart is already whole. You're not out here auditioning for a spot in his life. You're inviting him to audition for a place in yours. That slight but crucial shift in energy changes everything. And make no mistake, men pick up on that. Even if they can't articulate it, they feel it. It's in your tone, it's in the way you text. It's in the way you don't rush to fill silences or explain yourself. It's in the way you don't rearrange your schedule last minute because he finally decided to call. It's in the way you're happy to see him, but you're not needing to see him. That independence, that lightness, that self-sufficiency, it draws them in like a magnet. A lot of women I talk to will say, but if I don't show him how much I care, won't he think I'm not interested? The right guy, the guy who's serious about you, will feel the depth of your connection when he's with you. He'll experience your warmth, your laughter, your compassion. Detachment doesn't mean hiding those things. It means that after you've shared those beautiful parts of yourself, you don't go home panicking about whether you did too much or too little. You let it be. You let him come towards you. And the truth is, the people who are meant for you are never lost by your detachment. If anything, they're attracted even more strongly by it. Detachment isn't a way to manipulate someone into chasing you. It's a way of making sure that whoever does come closer is doing so because they genuinely value who you are, not because you chased them down, made it easy for them, or waited by the phone hoping they'd choose you. When you show up to a relationship detached from the outcome, you're saying, I want you, but I don't need you. I would love for this to work, but if it doesn't, I will still be perfectly okay. That is the energy of a woman who is both loving and powerful, and trust me, men can't resist that combination. Think about the most magnetic people you know. They're not magnetic because they're desperate to be liked. They're magnetic because they're operating from abundance. Their cup is already full. They're already living a life that excites them, that fulfills them. You feel lucky just to be part of their world. That's what real detachment looks like. It's not about pushing someone away. It's about standing so firmly in your own life that whoever joins you is truly adding to your happiness, not becoming the source of it. And let's be honest, the opposite of detachment, obsession, neediness, desperation never actually gets us what we want anyway. It only drives people away. It creates imbalance. It makes us anxious, reactive, and ultimately powerless. You can't inspire someone's desire for you by clinging to them. You inspire desire by being someone they genuinely admire and respect. And that admiration comes when they see you standing tall, living your life, loving yourself, with or without their attention. That's why detachment is not just a dating strategy, it's a life strategy. It's about being the kind of person who knows, deep in her bones, that she is enough, that no relationship, no attention, no external validation can add to or subtract from her value. And when you live from that place, not only do you feel better, you actually become a magnet for the very love you desire. Because love can't flow in an environment of fear and clinging. It flows in freedom. It grows in space. It thrives when both people choose each other from a place of true strength, not from a place of weakness. So when you find yourself tempted to hold tighter, to text first again, to prove yourself one more time, stop, breathe, step back. Remind yourself that if something is truly meant for you, it won't require you to compromise your self-respect to keep it. And if you have to chase it, it was never real to begin with. Remember, the right man isn't looking for someone who needs him to feel okay. He's looking for someone who is already okay, someone whose love feels like a beautiful addition to a beautiful life. And that starts when you detach from needing and anchor yourself in knowing. That's how you become irresistible without even trying. There's something almost magical about the feeling of curiosity. It's that sensation of wanting to know more, that little spark that draws us towards someone without even realizing exactly why. It's what keeps us coming back, keeps us thinking about someone when we're not with them. And when you master detachment, you naturally create that sense of mystery that fuels real attraction. You see, when you're constantly available, constantly reaching out, constantly inserting yourself into his life, you remove all the space where mystery can even exist. There's no room for curiosity to grow because you're already answering every question before he even has a chance to ask it. You're already there, always available, always accessible, and in a strange way, that predictability can actually dull the excitement. We're wired to want what feels just a little bit uncertain, not because we love games, but because we're intrigued by discovery. We're drawn to the unknown. We want to uncover someone piece by piece, layer by layer. That's what keeps the early stages of attraction alive and electric. When you detach and live your life fully, you allow that process to happen naturally. You don't rush it. You don't force it. You let someone wonder about you. You let them think about you when you're not around. Think about the last time you were genuinely intrigued by someone. Chances are it wasn't the person who told you their entire life story in the first hour of meeting them. It wasn't the person who liked all your photos within seconds or responded to every text instantly, no matter the time. It was probably someone who made you curious. Someone who gave you just enough to feel a connection but left enough unknown to make you want to lean in closer. That's the energy detachment creates. It's not about being aloof or cold. It's about trusting that you don't have to overshare, overperform, or overgive to be loved. You can be present, warm, and genuine without giving away all of your mystery in the first 5 minutes. You can share your essence without putting your entire soul on the table for someone you barely know. One of the biggest mistakes people make early on is thinking that the more they share, the faster intimacy will build. But real intimacy doesn't come from an information dump. It doesn't come from knowing every fact about someone's life. It comes from slowly discovering someone's mind, their heart, their dreams, their quirks, their fears. It comes from shared experiences, not frantic explanations. When you detach, you let those shared experiences unfold naturally. You're not racing to fill the silence. You're not anxious to tell him every detail of your day, every thought in your head, every plan for your future. You're comfortable with the idea that he can learn about you over time. You're patient enough to let him earn deeper layers of you rather than handing them over all at once. And the amazing thing is, when you move through your connections this way, you actually create stronger bonds because now he's invested, he's leaning in, he's choosing to learn more about you. He's working for it, not because you're playing hard to get, but because you're naturally allowing him to uncover who you are in a way that feels organic and exciting. Detachment makes you unpredictable in the best possible way, not in a chaotic or confusing sense, but in a way that keeps someone wondering what new dimension they might discover about you next. It's the difference between reading the first page of a book and being hooked versus reading the entire plot summary online and feeling like you don't even need to read it anymore. When everything is spelled out immediately, there's no journey left to take. And here's the beautiful part. When you're truly detached, you don't create mystery by withholding out of fear. You create it by genuinely being busy living your life. You create it because your life is already full of passions, projects, friends, experiences that light you up. You're not waiting for someone to come along and complete you. You're already complete, and the right person is going to want to spend their time uncovering the incredible, layered, multifaceted human being that you are. When you detach, you also stop trying to manage how someone perceives you. You're not angling every conversation, every text, every interaction to make sure you seem cool enough or smart enough or sexy enough. You're simply showing up as yourself and trusting that if someone's meant to see your light, they will. You're no longer auditioning. You're no longer explaining yourself. You're no longer selling yourself. And that, more than anything, is where real attraction lives. It lives in the spaces where someone is free to choose you, free to be curious about you, free to come closer without feeling like you're pulling them by the arm. It lives in the energy of freedom, not pressure. It grows when someone feels like they're discovering you rather than being bombarded by you. Detachment allows you to preserve that energy. It allows you to stand back and watch how someone shows up without feeling like you need to chase, nudge, or force the connection. It lets you stay in your own frame, your own world, your own rhythm, and from there, invite the right person into your orbit. The irony is, when you stop chasing connection and start living your own life, that's when the most genuine connections find you. That's when the people who are truly meant for you feel the pull to step up, to be consistent, to pursue you, because your energy feels different. It feels rare. It feels refreshing. You're not the woman who's sitting by the phone wondering why he hasn't called. You're the woman who's out there living, building, laughing, growing. And when he thinks about you, and he will think about you, it won't be out of obligation or guilt. It will be because there's a part of him that's intrigued, a part of him that wants to know more, a part of him that feels pulled toward you because you didn't hand everything over on a silver platter. You trusted your own value enough to know that you didn't have to. You knew that the right man wouldn't need to be convinced. He would feel it. He would sense it. And he would step into the mystery willingly, excited to discover the depths of who you are. Because at the end of the day, the woman who is detached from needing a man's attention is the woman who will always hold his deepest respect, admiration, and desire. There's something powerful that happens when you set a standard and stick to it. You're not just creating boundaries for the people around you, you're sending a message to the world about how you expect to be treated. And even more importantly, you're sending a message to yourself about what you're willing to accept. In dating, setting a high standard is everything. And detachment is what allows you to actually hold that standard without caving the moment emotions get involved. When you're detached, you're not operating from a place of desperation. You're not trying to force something to happen with someone just because you feel a connection. You recognize that attraction is not enough. Chemistry is not enough. Someone showing interest for a few days or weeks is not enough. You know that without consistent effort, respect, and shared values, none of it means anything. And because you know that, you're willing to walk away from situations that don't meet your standards, no matter how much you like the person. One of the reasons people struggle so much in relationships is because they confuse liking someone with someone being right for them. But the two things are not the same. You can like someone deeply and still realize that they're not treating you the way you deserve. You can have incredible chemistry with someone and still recognize that they're inconsistent, unreliable, or emotionally unavailable. The key is not letting your feelings override your standards. The key is having the strength to say, "This isn't enough for me," and meaning it. That strength only comes from detachment, because when you're attached to the outcome, when you're desperate for things to work out with this one person, you will find ways to justify bad behavior. You will lower your standards. You will excuse inconsistencies. You will accept breadcrumbs instead of the full love you deserve just because you're afraid of losing the little you have. Detachment protects you from that. Detachment allows you to see clearly. It lets you look at someone's actions objectively instead of through the fog of wishful thinking. It gives you the space to say, "I can love you and still choose myself. I can care about you and still walk away if you're not showing up the way I need." When you live from that place, you naturally attract better. You stop wasting time on people who aren't serious about you. You stop getting caught in endless situationships that go nowhere. You stop feeling the need to prove your worth to someone who's too blind to see it. You move differently. You date differently. You operate from a place of quiet confidence that says, "I'm not here to convince you. I'm here to see if you're worthy of me." And here's the beautiful thing. When a man senses that you have standards, real, non-negotiable standards, and that you're actually willing to enforce them, he behaves differently around you. He steps up. He pays attention. He knows he can't get away with laziness, inconsistency, or disrespect, because you're not the kind of woman who will stick around and tolerate it. You're not going to stay and try to fix him. You're not going to teach him how to treat you. You're going to walk not because you're playing games, but because you value yourself too much to settle for anything less. That energy is irresistible. It's magnetic. Because men, at their core, want to earn a woman's affection. They want to feel like they're winning you over, not like they're being handed something they haven't even worked for yet. When you set a standard and stick to it, you're giving him the opportunity to step into his best self, not just for you, but for himself. But that only happens when you stay strong in your detachment. The moment you compromise because you're afraid of losing him, you lose the very thing that made you attractive to him in the first place. The moment you start accepting crumbs, you teach him that he doesn't need to give you the whole cake. The moment you let your standards slide, you send the message that your value is negotiable. And once he believes that, it's almost impossible to undo. Holding your standards isn't about being rigid or unkind. It's about being crystal clear about what you will and will not accept. It's about communicating through your actions, not just your words, that you know what you deserve. If you say you won't tolerate inconsistency, but then stay when someone ghosts you for a week and comes back like nothing happened, your words mean nothing. But if you quietly step away, without drama, without chasing, without trying to explain yourself, you're showing that your boundaries are real. There's something truly captivating about a woman who doesn't operate on anyone else's timeline but her own. A woman who moves at her own pace, who's in no rush to lock anything down unless it genuinely feels right. She's not sitting there desperately waiting for someone to choose her. She knows she's already chosen herself, and anyone who wants a place in her life has to match her energy, her standards, and her rhythm. Detachment gives you the power to slow down and not rush connection. It gives you the courage to say, let's actually see who this person is over time. Instead of getting swept away by chemistry in the first few dates and suddenly planning your entire future together. It's so easy to project what we want to see when we're excited. We meet someone, the conversation flows, the attraction is there, and we start writing a story in our head. We fast forward to what it could be without really observing what it actually is. But when you're detached, you're not in that race. You're not treating the first few interactions like a final exam that you're desperate to pass. You're not racing to lock things down before you even know if this person is truly right for you. Instead, you're staying present. You're staying curious. You're asking yourself, how do I feel when I'm around them? Are their actions matching their words? Are they making a consistent effort over time? Do I even like the version of myself that shows up when I'm with them? Moving at your own pace means you're not letting external pressure dictate your decisions either. You're not dating from a place of fear of being alone, fear of missing out, fear of losing a good catch. You're dating from a place of choice. You're interviewing for the role of partner in your life with a full understanding that not everyone who applies is going to get the job. That's a very different energy. It's the energy of someone who values herself so deeply that she refuses to rush the most important decisions of her life. She refuses to settle just because something looks good on paper or feels good in the moment. She knows that true compatibility isn't revealed in the honeymoon phase, it's revealed in the way someone shows up over time, through seasons, through challenges, through the ordinary moments when the spark alone isn't enough. And here's what's amazing. When you move at your own pace, you invite the right people to reveal themselves. The ones who are serious, who are ready, who are emotionally mature, they'll match your rhythm. They won't push you to rush. They won't get frustrated because you're not immediately giving them everything. They'll respect the way you're moving because they're moving with the same intentionality themselves. The wrong ones, the ones who are just looking for a quick ego boost or a short-term thrill, they'll get impatient. They'll show their true colors early on, and you'll be able to walk away without wasting months or years on someone who was never really in it for the right reasons. When you move at your own pace, you're also building trust with yourself. You're showing yourself that you don't have to cling to the first thing that feels good. You're showing yourself that you can enjoy the excitement without getting carried away by it. You're practicing patience, discernment, and self-respect, all of which are essential foundations for a healthy, lasting relationship. And there's something deeply attractive about that to the right man. A woman who's willing to slow down, to get to know him properly, to actually build something real. She stands out. She's not chasing validation. She's not seeking external proof that she's lovable. She's already grounded in her own worth, and she's inviting connection from a place of abundance, not scarcity. That makes him value the connection more. It makes him invest more deeply. It makes him want to earn his place in your life because he sees that it's not something you give away lightly. He recognizes that your heart is precious, that your time is precious, and that your standards are non-negotiable. And you know what else happens when you move at your own pace? You protect yourself from heartbreak that comes from jumping too quickly into something unsustainable. You give yourself the chance to see the full picture, not just the highlight reel. You notice the little things, the consistency, the communication, the way he treats you when things aren't easy. You gather real data about who he is, not just who he's pretending to be when he's on his best behavior. And by the time you decide to truly open your heart, it's not a leap of blind faith. It's a conscious choice based on evidence. It's love built on truth, not fantasy. It's connection rooted in reality, not just potential. Because here's the thing, relationships that last are not built on how fast you connect. They're built on how deeply you connect, how honestly you communicate, and how consistently you show up for each other over time. Speed is easy. Depth takes patience. It takes courage. It takes someone willing to move at the pace of real trust, not the pace of instant gratification. So if you find yourself getting anxious because it's taking a little longer to define the relationship, or because you're not sure where things are headed after a few dates, remember this. Anything truly worth having is worth getting right. Anything truly meaningful will not fall apart because you didn't rush it. And anyone truly meant for you will not be scared off by your patience. If anything, your willingness to move slowly will be a refreshing change in a world where everyone else is sprinting towards something they barely understand. It will signal that you're different, that you're intentional, that you know your value, And you're not afraid to wait for the person who sees it too. Because when you own your pace, you own your power. There's a level of freedom that comes with detachment that not only transforms your relationships, but your entire life. Because when you're detached in the healthiest way, you're no longer living every day wondering, does he like me? Does he want me? Is he still interested? You're free. You're free to be your full self, to live your fullest life without feeling like your happiness is constantly hanging in the balance, depending on how someone else feels about you on any given day. And this freedom, this ability to live fully, no matter what's happening in your love life, is unbelievably attractive. When a woman is out there loving her life, investing in her passions, nurturing her friendships, chasing her dreams, not waiting for a man to complete her story that is magnetic energy, that is a woman people want to be around. That is a woman who becomes unforgettable. Because here's the thing, true detachment isn't about shutting people out or pretending you don't care. It's about removing the emotional leash that ties your self-worth to the actions of another human being. It's about knowing that no matter what happens, your story is still beautiful, your life is still meaningful, and your happiness is still intact. When you live from that place, you're no longer desperate for validation. You're not fishing for compliments. You're not contorting yourself to fit into someone else's world. You're already whole. You're already complete. And that fullness radiates from you in a way that draws people in effortlessly. Men feel it immediately. They see that you're not trying to impress them. You're not trying to win them over. You're just showing up as you, confident, vibrant, unapologetically yourself. And that authenticity, that lightness, is a breath of fresh air. It creates space for genuine connection because you're not burdening the relationship with unrealistic expectations. You're not demanding that another person make you feel okay about yourself. You're simply inviting them to share the joy of your life with you. This freedom also changes how you handle setbacks. If someone pulls away, it doesn't destroy you. If a date doesn't lead to a relationship, it doesn't wreck your self-esteem. You don't internalize every disappointment as a reflection of your worth. You understand that not everyone is meant for you, and that's okay. You understand that rejection is just redirection. And you stay open, you stay soft, you stay optimistic, because your heart was never chained to any single outcome to begin with. When you're detached in this way, you're free to actually enjoy dating. It stops feeling like an emotional battlefield where every interaction could make or break your future. It starts feeling like an adventure, a fun, light-hearted way to meet new people, to learn more about yourself, to see what's out there. You're able to appreciate the journey instead of obsessing over the destination. And you become more discerning too. You can recognize when someone isn't right for you without clinging to potential. You can walk away from situations that don't honor your value without endless back and forth in your mind. You trust yourself more. You respect yourself more. And because of that, you make better choices. And when the right person does come along, you're ready for them. You're not operating from a place of fear or neediness. You're not trying to force the connection to happen. You're able to receive love because you're already overflowing with it in your own life. You're able to build a relationship based on mutual respect, shared values, and true partnership, not dependency, not desperation. You're also able to give more freely because you're not loving from a place of lack. You're not keeping score. You're not giving affection and attention as a transaction, hoping to get something back. You're giving because you have so much to give, and you're detached enough to know that if it's not reciprocated in the way you deserve, you'll be just fine. You won't collapse. You'll simply move forward with grace, knowing that love, real love, is never something you have to beg for. Detachment, in its healthiest form, unlocks a version of you that is powerful, radiant, and deeply attractive. It's the version of you that's no longer a prisoner to what ifs, and maybe he will, and maybe I can make him see. It's the version of you that knows you are the prize, not because someone else said so, but because you decided it was true. And that shift changes everything. It changes the way you walk into a room. It changes the way you hold yourself in conversation. It changes the energy you bring to every interaction. You're no longer asking, will they like me? You're asking, do I enjoy being around them? Do they align with the life I'm building? Do they enhance the peace and joy I've already created for myself? That's a completely different lens, and it's one that saves you years of heartache and wasted energy. It's one that ensures you never settle for less than you deserve, not because you're guarding yourself out of fear, but because you're honoring yourself out of love. And here's the beautiful paradox. The more you detach, the more love finds you, because you're no longer chasing it, you're embodying it, you're radiating it. And people can't help but be drawn to that light. So if you take nothing else from this, let it be this: your power lies in your freedom. Your power lies in your ability to live a full, beautiful, meaningful life with or without a partner. Your power lies in knowing that you are enough exactly as you are right now. Because the woman who is free, truly free, is the woman who is unforgettable. Thank you so much for watching. I hope today's talk gave you a whole new perspective on why detaching is such a powerful move in love and relationships. Remember, you have all the power when you know your worth and live from a place of strength and freedom. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and leave me a comment down below telling me what topic you want me to dive into next. I love hearing from you and bringing you the advice that actually makes a difference. I'll see you in the next video.